And good morning from North Texas. We are glad you're here today. We are going to be talking about the Bachelor of Applied Arts and Sciences degree program today, hosted on Coursera. We'll do just a quick overview, which may be a review for some of you, but just want to make sure we cover the basics here really quickly, and then we're going to dig into the questions that you all to the Coursera team. And if you have other questions throughout our webinar today, please feel free to put those questions in the Q&A box in the Zoom, and we will get to those questions as well. This is going to be our final webinar in the webinar series before the application closes in 10 days on November 20th. So make sure you get your questions in. We want to make sure that we answer all your questions so that you are fully prepared to apply for and be admitted to the Bachelor of Applied Arts and Sciences at UNT. We are recording this webinar today, so that will be posted by Coursera after our session today. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I am Sam Nicolai. I am Senior Digital Strategist and Head of the Enterprise Department in the Division of Digital Strategy and Innovation at the University of North Texas. I am joined today by Stephanie Ellendary, the project coordinator who really organizes all of your student services. She is on top of this program and all of the student needs for this program. Also joined by Brett Johnson, who is your advisor for this program. Brett is the person who will work with you to determine all of your transfer credit, and then he will also get you registered for your classes. So he's kind of the face of the program. He's the one that you'll talk to the most. All right, so let's start with some program basics. So Bachelor of Applied Arts and Sciences, you'll hear us refer to this as the BAAS degree, and that's kind of what we'll call it throughout the program. So the BAAS degree is a bachelor's completion program. So this is for students who have started their higher education journey. So that means they have some credits from some other institution, be it traditional college level credit, workforce credit, military credit, technical credit. We will work with you to take your previous experience. We don't want you to waste that experience. This is a multidisciplinary degree program. So what that means is that with the BAAS, you're going to get kind of a well-rounded education. So when we talk about higher education a lot, we talk about, what's your major, and it's business or it's education or it's, biology. Those are very specific majors, right? You know exactly, if I tell you my major is biology, you can think about all the classes that I'm going to take, right? With this, the Bachelor of Applied Arts and Sciences, your major is Applied Arts and Sciences. And so that's more multidisciplinary, which means that you kind of get to pick your pathway. We've chosen 8 concentrations for you to focus in, and we'll talk about those later, but you will get to choose what concentrations and where you want your focus to be based on your professional and career goals. So if you are in management at a company and you want to move up to the next level of management, or you want to move to a different kind of job, you'll be able to pick your concentrations based on what you want to do in that future. And the unique thing about this program is that we do allow learners to transfer credit in. A lot of programs, you can transfer some of your credit, but not all of your credit. But with us, we're going to do everything we can to transfer all of your credit because you've worked hard to earn that, and we believe that we need to honor that. Just a reminder, if you have questions, go ahead and put those in the Q&A box. Happy to answer any questions you've got. All right, so this slide just kind of breaks down the components of the BAAS. So like any degree, you're going to have to do your core, which you may have heard referred to as the gen eds. But those are going to be your basic college math, college English, writing, history, government, those sort of things. You may, if you have attended a community college or another institute of higher education, you may have a lot of those credits done. Good for you, we'll transfer them in. The next set of classes is the BAAS unifying classes. So these are special to the BAAS degree. It's a set of 3 courses that are required to graduate with your BAAS degree. It is inquiry and discovery, so you're learning research methods and really just kind of getting into being a student. That's the first class you'll take as a BAAS student, and that'll get you ready for the rest of the program. And then civic engagement is another course you'll take. And then the final course is your capstone course, which is managing a 21st century career. Then, as I said before, we have 8 concentrations that you can choose from. So here on this slide, I've listed out the concentrations that we are offering. Each concentration is 12 credit hours or 4 classes. So we have administration, which focuses a lot in management, consumer behavior, which is merchandising and retailing, things like that. Organizational supervision, again, a lot of management. The Google IT certificate on Coursera, if you have completed that Google IT certificate, we take that credit in as transfer, and that will fit into one of your concentration slots. We're also very excited, starting in spring of 21, we will be offering a data analytics concentration. If you're in the business world right now, you know that that is a concentration that is in high demand. That is a job skill that is in high demand. So data analytics is one we're very, very excited to be offering. And then coming in fall of 2021, we will offer hospitality, which is, focus on like hotel, restaurant, tourism industries, event management. And then media innovation, which is all journalism classes, and social welfare and community, which are classes from our sociology department. Some unique things about this degree program being fully online. We offer classes in 8-week terms. So rather than the full 16-week semester, each class is 8 weeks long. There are 2 terms per traditional semester. Sometimes there's a few days of break in between, but sometimes it's just a weekend and you flip from one to the other. We take students into the program in fall and spring. So that is August and January of the academic calendar. And then we have 2 terms in fall, 2 terms in spring, and 1 term in summer that you can take your classes. So just so that you kind of have an idea of when you can take classes and how you can take classes, those are kind of the options. We do recommend that you stick to 1 to 2 classes per term. However, you can take up to 3 if you're working full time or you have a family or other obligations. That's definitely something to talk to Brett about, because with these classes being in 8-week terms, we've taken the 16-week semester and already shrunk it down to 8 weeks. So you're already doing kind of the same work in half the time. And so Brett will talk to you about what's going to be best for the number of courses you take per term. This is our unofficial degree planning worksheet. One of the special pieces to this program, something that's really important to us, is getting the information into your hands prior to you starting the program so that you know what classes you have left to take, how many hours you have left to take, and then you can also use that information to determine how much it might cost you and how long it's going to take. So Brett will use your unofficial transcripts that you give to the Coursera enrollment coach or upload into Box, and he will fill this out for you. And so when you get this, you can kind of look over and see what classes you have transferred in and then what classes you still need to take. One of the benefits that we offer to BAAS students on Coursera is our premium student wraparound service. Navigating the world of higher education can be difficult, especially when you're not on campus. You know, when you're on campus, you know, oh, the tutoring office is right there, or if I want a mentor, I can meet them in the union or whatever it may be. But being off campus, we want to make sure that you have the services you need to be successful, but also in a way that is super easy to navigate. So we developed the premium wraparound service. And through this service, you will be able to contact the Coursera 24/7 team, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they will take your request. You can say, let's say, you know, you're having trouble in one of your management classes and you could really just use an hour with a tutor so that you can ask some questions and gain some understanding. You would email that Coursera 24/7 team, I need help in my management class. Can you connect me with a tutor? That team will connect you with our tutoring team in the Learning Center, and you will be able to meet with your tutor then very quickly, rather than having to figure out, maybe you have to reach out to Brett, what do I do if I need a tutor? And then you have to reach out to the tutoring center, and then you have to do this. And we are just making sure that that is super easy for you. So what we've done is we've taken some very valuable services that we offer at UNT and just kind of put them all in one place, made them really easy to access. So tutoring is one. Our tutors are amazing, but we also have access to asynchronous tutoring. So if you can access TutorTube, which is our tutors version of YouTube, where they've made videos on popular topics, kind of like Khan Academy style, for you to get the information that you need. You can also access the tutoring via chat or asynchronously via email. We have career counselors who are willing to meet with you and talk to you about the best ways to market yourself after graduation. How do I talk about this BAAS degree? How do I get the next job? How do I talk to my manager about a raise now that I have this degree? How do I, write a resume or a cover letter? Our career counselors can help you with that. Academic advising is Brett. You will talk to him every semester, and he will make sure that you are registered for your classes and you're in all of the right sections. He will make sure that you are ready to go. We also offer mentors. These are students who have done what you're doing. They are students who understand the demands of an education and can talk to you about time management or about how to manage, a full-time job while taking classes. Any questions you have, your mentor is a good contact to have. And then finally, we have success coaches. We like to say, we want to make sure that you feel that there is someone at UNT who is cheering for you. They are your cheerleader, and they want you to be successful. And that's what our success coaches do. So finally, program cost. This program is one of the most affordable programs at the University of North Texas, and really any that we've seen. It is $330 per credit hour. Most courses are 3 credit hours, which means $990 a course. There is a one-time $75 application fee, which is due at the time of application submission. And that will be done either through the application portal. There's also a one-time $45 orientation fee, which will be paid to our orientation office. And then, of course, you'll be responsible for books and other things. We do have some opportunities for scholarships, and there is an academic fraternity for non-traditional students that has money for books available as well. So those are all things that you should look into once you become a student to kind of help ease the financial burden some. Okay, so I'm gonna actually stop sharing my screen so that you can just see us, and we are gonna answer some questions. So some questions have been added to the Q&A, and we have a lot of questions that have been submitted prior to the webinar. So we're gonna start by going through the list of questions that were submitted previously, and then we'll get to the questions in the Q&A box. So as we're talking, keep putting those questions in the Q&A box. We will get to them, okay? All right, so first question, sorry, I have 3 screens here. So if I turn backwards, it's because I'm looking at a different screen. So one of the questions that I got was about how the BAAS degree is recognized around the world. The great news about this degree is it is a University of North Texas degree. University of North Texas is an accredited US-based institution. We are a Research One university. This is a real degree program. So your diploma when you graduate from UNT will not say anything about online. It will not say anything about Coursera. It will just say that you graduated from the University of North Texas. So yes, this is a degree that is recognized.
All right, I will do the next question. So we got the question, how do I get an academic advisor to check my transcript? So what you want to do at this point, if you are interested in this degree, a great thing about this program is that you don't have to spend any money before we give you an idea of what this degree looks like for you. So you will want to send an email to the Coursera enrollment coaches, and if one of my colleagues can put that email in the chat for you. So you'll send an email to them. The Coursera enrollment coaches will request your unofficial transcripts. So unofficial means it can be a photo of your transcripts. You don't have to pay money to get your transcripts from the school at that point. Again, transcripts for everyone. They might also be called mark sheets in different countries. But whatever is showing the classes you took, the credit hours that they were worth, and the school that you attended, as well as the grades you got, we can take a look at that. So once the Coursera enrollment coaches get your transcripts, they will upload them to a service called Box, and they will give you access to Box. Box is used because it's a secure location for your transcripts because we don't want any of your personal information to get out. Once those transcripts are in Box, Brett and myself take a look at them. And for international transcripts, I would say it takes 2 to 3 weeks to get an unofficial planning sheet back from us. And then for domestic transcripts, Brett is usually very quick. I'd say at the latest a week and a half for him to get an unofficial planning sheet back. And the unofficial planning sheet is actually, it was on one of the slides that Sam talked through where it showed the university core and then the major requirements. So what we will do is we will fill that out for you. We will cross out things you have already completed, and then we will highlight things that you still have to complete for this degree. And at that point, we will send that back to you, and you can make the decision if you want to pursue this degree. So again, that gives you a look at if you want to pursue this or not at that point.
So one of the questions we often get is how many hours per week will I be spending on coursework? And this is one of those, I kind of call it where the rubber meets the road. So a little bit of background, but all the courses you take for this program are taken in 8-week sessions, whether it's fall, spring, or summer. So the 3 semesters are fall, spring, and summer. And in those semesters, we offer a certain amount of 8-week sessions. So I want to preface that there. Now, in an 8-week session, for one class, and each class is 3 credit hours, for one class, you can expect to be doing up to 12 hours of classwork each week, and that's just for one class. So I tell you this because since many of our students have full-time jobs, non-traditional, many of you would be considered non-traditional, which means you're outside the ages of 18 to 22, and or you're working full-time, or you have a family. You have quite a bit of responsibility. So with each class you take, expect to work 12 hours per week on each class. I also tell you that because if you do end up applying, and once you're admitted, there is a good chance that when I send you your class options, i.e. what I mean are the classes you can take or you can choose from for a given semester, there might be 3 or 4 classes per 8-week period, and you can take up to 3 classes per 8-week period. However, if one class is equal to 12 hours of coursework each week, multiply that by 3 classes, that's almost 40 hours of time spent on class each week. So I can go ahead and give you a little free advice here. If you're working full-time, do not take 3 classes in an 8-week period. All your hair will fall out. You'll go a little crazy. I would never advise that. However, we do have students, some who decide to do that. And one of the things I like to tell students is we're all adults here. I will advise you on what to do, but it is ultimately your decision. We will not make you take a specific class at a specific time. That's not how we do it. So 12 hours per week per class.
Awesome. Thanks, Brett. Another question we got was about whether or not we offer a senior discount. And we do not offer a senior discount. However, there is scholarship money available. This is a program that you can apply for federal aid for. So all you have to do is fill out that FAFSA, which is something that I recommend all domestic students do because a lot of scholarships are determined by the FAFSA. So filling that out is super important. At this point, for international students, we don't have a whole lot of scholarship options. There are some, but we rely a lot on federal aid and the FAFSA. So there isn't a lot available for international students, but that is something that we're working on.
So we also received a few questions that are very specific for our international students, such as, are courses from a university in Peru accepted? Can I transfer in credits from a dropped out international degree? I've completed a pharmacy degree in India and want to complete my bachelor's degree here. So the answer to all of that is yes, we will take a look at your credits. And I actually am the one who evaluates the international credits for the unofficial planning sheet. So what we do is I'll take a look through your credits. We will deem them accredited, that we can accept the school that you're bringing in the credits from at UNT. And if it is, then there's a little bit of a ratio that we use to convert the credits from your school's credits to US UNT credit. And then I'll fill out your planning sheet to show you what you have. So yes, you can send us your transcripts. That's honestly the only way I'm going to be able to tell you if we accept your credit and how much you have. We have to be able to see the transcripts. I can't just say, you know, yes, we accept your school, because there's quite a few steps we have to go through to validate that. So again, send those transcripts to the email address that we sent in there, and we will take a look for you.
Okay, so another common question is, how long does it take to earn the degree? I'll go ahead and preface this. It all depends on how many courses you have remaining when you start. and how many courses you take each semester. That is really going to dictate how long it takes for you to finish the program. So for example, if you come in needing 60 hours, so that's half the degree. If you go full-time, it'll take you about 2 years. If you go part-time, anywhere between 2 and 4 years. If you come in needing around 30 hours, so you're 75% of the way done, it'll take you probably around 1 year full-time, between 1 and 2 years part-time. Full-time students will take on average about 30 credit hours in a year, which is fall, spring, and summer. They'll take 30 hours. Part-time students will take usually probably closer to around 15 hours in a year, because they're only taking 1 or 2 classes each semester. Now with that, another question is, do we accept prior courses off Coursera and Sophia.org? I can't tell you for sure. We do accept the Google IT certificate from Coursera. That comes in as 12 hours of credit. So when you apply, you let us know, and we'll send you instructions on how to get that a transcript made and get that sent to us for Coursera. Sophia.org, and Stephanie and Sam can jump in, but I honestly don't know for sure if we take it. What I can tell you is the University of North Texas will accept transcripts from accredited institutions. So like, we could technically take like Straighterline, which is, it's another one of those online forums. We can take Straighterline. Those actually go through, you would actually get a transcript through an organization called the American Council on Education, which is actually where you would also get your Google IT certificate transcript from. So Sophia.org, I don't know for sure if we can take it from there. However, if you have taken courses off there, when you apply, you will submit a transcript, and at that point we can let you know for sure. But the rule of thumb, if you're taking classes anywhere within the United States, the school needs to be accredited. That's what we're looking for.
Yes, awesome. So a big question is, how is the global pandemic affecting this degree program? The good news is that because this is a fully online program, you don't have to travel, you don't have to go anywhere for classes, you don't have to get together in groups. This program is still going to be exactly how we planned it prior to the pandemic. So it's virtually unaffected. The great news is that, through the pandemic, we've all gotten a lot better at technology. We have gotten a lot better at technology. So we're actually improving the level of education that we're able to provide as we are growing in our knowledge of technology. We have faculty members who are now comfortable with hosting Zoom sessions. Occasionally they'll do optional synchronous sessions where everybody gets on a Zoom together to kind of build that rapport. Our faculty members host virtual office hours. So long story short, the great news is that this program, because it's fully online, is not affected by the pandemic.
Okay. I got a few questions in the question and answer box, and I'm going to address that now. So for international students, should the transcripts I'm supposed to submit be reviewed by a credential evaluation service? And then another question was, do you accept WES equivalency? So yes, WES is the only accredited or credential evaluation service that we do accept at UNT. So if you do have the WES evaluated credit, we will accept that and we will use that, and ours will be equal to what they give you in credit. However, if you do not have WES evaluation, you do not have to go and get it evaluated, because obviously that costs money. What we will do, like I said, is we'll take a look, do our ratio, convert the credits, and then give you an idea of where you stand. And the same thing when you actually apply and get admitted, that same ratio is used, and that will be the credit that's awarded to you. So if you do not have WES, do not worry about going out and getting, you know, another credential service to look at that. And if you do have another credential service who looked at your credits, we still do have to do our conversion ratio if it's not WES. So just know that ahead of time.
Okay. So this question has to do with residency. As far as, do you need to be a specific, or does residency matter for this degree program? Primarily speaking, no. Everyone will be charged, whether you're in-state, out-of-state, outside the United States, everyone will be charged the same price, $330 per credit hour. There's one minor caveat, and it is very minor. If you are an out-of-state resident and you have lived in Texas for less than a year, so you have not established residency in Texas, at that point, what you're charged would be a little bit different. So again, that's if you've moved to Texas, but you have not established residency here, then you would be charged a little bit more than the $330 per credit hour. From our experience so far, that is a very, very, very small group of applicants. So it's not something, you know, I really think you need to think about or, you know, worry about. It's very, very small. So basically the rule of thumb is no matter where you're living, $330 per credit hour. Now that $330 does not include textbooks. Now I do get questions, the question of how much are my textbooks? Simple answer, I don't know, and I can't give you a specific cost for that because that differs from class to class. So unfortunately, we can't tell you that. We can't tell you how much textbooks will cost. What I will tell you is buy or rent off Amazon.com. That's my advice because that's probably where you're going to find the cheapest option. However, we also have a bookstore on campus that you can purchase through online. But the cost is $330 per credit hour on the whole.
And I'll just real quick, as far as books are concerned, a lot of your professors will instruct you on where to buy your book for the cheapest price. So for example, our Texas government professor right now has a special deal with the publisher that her students get it for about $30 cheaper than you can get it anywhere else. So faculty will give you some information on where to get the best deal on your books too. So seeing some questions on how we transfer credit. So just to kind of go through the process a little bit. So you'll send your unofficial transcripts in to get your unofficial degree planning sheet. Unofficial transcripts cannot admit you to the university, however. In order to be admitted to the university, our admissions team and our registrar's office has to have official copies of your transcript. So that means that you actually reach out to the institution and tell them to send a copy of your transcript to the University of North Texas. If you previously attended a school in the United States, they can do that electronically. If it was a school internationally, we do only accept those via mail at this time. So for any credits that you have, any previous associate's degrees, anything like that, that is going to come through our admissions office and our registrar's office. I did also just want to say real quick that the BAAS degree is a bachelor completion degree. So it is only for first bachelor's degrees. If you already have a bachelor degree of some sort, this program is not one for you. We do have other online bachelor's degrees, not on Coursera, or other online graduate degrees that could be something you would look into. You can visit online.unt.edu to get more information on those online programs. But this program is specifically for a first bachelor's completion.
And I'll actually say something on that. Per the international student side, if you do have a bachelor's degree from your country, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have a bachelor's degree in the US. So what Sam was saying is 100% for sure for domestic students. If you already have a bachelor's degree, you'll probably want to move on and do a master's degree, which will better benefit you. However, if you are an international student and you need a US bachelor's degree, and you have a bachelor's in your country, we can take a look and see if that will give you an equivalent US degree. If it doesn't, then you should do the degree. If it does, then you'll move on and do a master's degree. So we would want to take a look at that for you. And also in terms of applying to the university, so you will want to apply to UNT. Denton is where you want to apply to. There's some confusion sometimes with other UNT schools. We're in a system, but we are all separate entities. So you must apply to UNT Denton. And in terms of international transcripts being sent, unfortunately at this time, you can only send those via mail. And so, yeah, it can take some time to get those transcripts in, but we will need your transcripts in English and in your native language. And even for the unofficial transcripts and doing your planning sheet, I personally cannot read French or Italian or, some other languages. And so those will have to be in English. If you can just send me the English version, that would be great. But yes, when you actually apply, we will need your native language and English. And then we also will need proof of your English proficiency.
Okay, so another common question, what are all the courses that I take? A lot of it's up to you. I cannot give you a specific list of what all your courses are that you will take, because like Sam mentioned at the beginning of this, it's an interdisciplinary degree, which means that you pick multiple areas of study, the concentration areas. So that really dictates what your courses are. I will tell you that the way we have this set up, even though once you choose your concentrations, even though not every course is offered every semester, the courses are on what's called a carousel, so they're offered at specific times. It's offered in a way that allows you to be able to complete all of your courses, so you can usually graduate within 1 or 2 years, and that's dependent on how many classes you have left. So once you are admitted, I make your official degree plan for you. And then at that point, I reach out to you to finalize your degree plan, which means usually choosing however many concentrations you have left between 1 and 3, and that's dependent on how much you're transferring in. Once we finalize those concentration areas, then you know exactly what classes you're taking. The only time you don't is if you have what are called electives. So basically you have, we filled out every part of your degree, but you need a couple more classes to get to the required 120 hours. Those classes, that's usually pretty flexible, and you have a lot of choice over what fills up those classes. So again, you'll find out what all your courses are once we set up your degree plan. However, the important thing, which is knowing how much you have left, you can, when you work with an enrollment coach with Coursera, they get you that unofficial degree plan that we will make for you. That lets you know how many classes you have left. Maybe not exactly the specific classes, but how many you have left. That's really what you want to know before you, in my opinion, start, considering applying at that point. With that, is this a legitimate degree? One word answer, yes, for a few reasons. Primarily being the University of North Texas is an accredited university. So any degree that the University of North Texas offers is a legitimate degree. Now, I know Stephanie and I, Stephanie many years ago in a galaxy far, far away was an advisor for BAAS. But so both of us have gotten that question of, is the Bachelor's of Applied Arts and Science a legitimate degree in and of itself? The answer is yes. It is a very common degree. It's like Sam's mentioned, it's a completion degree. And it was created specifically for individuals such as yourself who have quite a bit of coursework, quite a bit of training, and you need a bachelor's degree for whatever reason. You fill in the blank, you need that bachelor's degree. The BAAS was created so you are not having to start from scratch. You can transfer in what you have, complete the degree in a more timely manner, and then move on to whatever that next phase is.
Yes, absolutely. And UNT is a tier 1 research university. So we are in the top tier of universities in the United States. So that's an important thing to recognize as well. So not only are you getting a legitimate degree, you're also getting it from a top university. Another question that we had, so a certain amount of credit hours or a certain GPA to get into the program. So 45 credit hours need to be transferred in. So that means from all of your other experiences, you need to bring in at least 45 credit hours. And the upper level of that limit is, so there's a difference. It's 84 or 90, depending on what kind of credit you are bringing in. So if you're bringing lower level credit, you have to take a certain number of upper level credit classes from the University of North Texas. So Brett will work that out with you though, what number of credits can be transferred in. But a minimum of 45 credits at this point. Additionally, a GPA of 2.0. So that's a cumulative GPA from all of your previous experiences. And again, Brett can work with you on that. And then also, someone posted that they're having trouble getting transcripts from a college or records from a previous college. This happens a lot if you have outstanding payments on your degree plan from your previous experience. And unfortunately, there's very little we can do about that. We do have to have those records. It's part of our accreditation status. It's part of our research status to make sure that we are including all of your previous educational experiences. So if that is the situation you're in where you're having trouble getting those records, you know, unfortunately, if it is a financial situation, you do just have to pay your bill to that university to be able to get your record. If it's something else, if it's due to COVID or some other situation, reach out because we can help if it is a COVID type situation. But if it's financial, there's very little we can do, unfortunately.
Okay, so we are getting a few questions on, so total a bachelor's degree is 120 credit hours. Now, you can go over that depending upon if some of the classes you've taken don't count at UNT or they don't count for what you need it to count for, then you can go over that amount, and transfer students typically do go over that amount just based off of what you're bringing in and what UNT requires. So, but 120, you must have at least 120 credit hours to graduate with your bachelor's. And then there have been quite a few questions about credit hours being like 20 years old or even older than that. And we can accept, you know, any credits. So no matter how old they are, you've earned them, and we can see if they're accredited, if they transfer correctly, we can count them towards this degree. So just like, you know, there's no age limit to this program. We have students in their 20s, and then we have students all the way through their 70s. There are also no year limits on your credit hours.
Okay, so just to piggyback off what Stephanie said, I'll tell you this from the advisory position. I have had students with coursework from the 1960s, so like 50 years ago. So if anyone can top that, my hat will be off to you. But all that to say, there, like Stephanie said, there's no age limit for admission. There's no age limit on coursework. So we're very flexible. It's the perk of this degree. Now, I've gotten a few questions about experience counting and both just traditional vocational personal experience and then military credit for military service, U.S. military service. I want to specify with that. So the first one for the U.S. military, yes, that can count for credit. If you have served in the United States military, you should be able to get a copy of your what's called your Joint Services Transcript, or JST for short. And that JST will have the credit hours for your service. Just thinking through that kind of the training you did, the type of training. I've seen quite a bit of different types of coursework, a lot of leadership, management, airplane maintenance. I mean, there's a lot. So your JST, and then if you served in the U.S. military, your DD-214, we can always get 4 hours of credit off of that. That basically goes in for some of your core requirements. That basically counts as a phys ed or physical education course. So yes, military, very, very straightforward, actually. As far as work experience, and I've had a couple questions about, social work, ambulatory analyst, so different types of experience that can count as credit. However, it's not guaranteed. There is a pretty solid chance. So we utilize we work with a third-party service called the American Council on Education, and I've just dropped their website in the chat, so I'll definitely save that. If you have any type of experience that you want to count as credit, what you need to do is reach out to the American Council on Education, or ACE for short. Reach out to ACE. They will work with you to get your documentation, any documentation they need. They will review it, and if they will count it as college credit, they will then generate a transcript for you. An example of this that we know will work is the Google IT certificate. So ACE has already, they already reviewed the content, and they decided that counts as 12 credit hours, 12 undergraduate credit hours, basically. So in that example, if you did the Google IT certificate, we have instructions for you. You'd submit your documentation to ACE. They would generate a transcript. You would submit that transcript to us for 12 credit hours. But if you have any type of credit, whether you worked at CVS Pharmacy for years, or your company did some continuing education with you, or whatever, if you want that to count as credit, reach out to ACE and ask them to review it. They do have a list on there of credit. Before we start answering questions, I tried to find that list of just kind of common trainings that they count as credit. I could not find it. I think they've recently updated their website. So best bet is to just, when you're ready to have it reviewed, go to the link we sent you, reach out to them via email, and they will work with you to have that reviewed. So again, military credit, US military credit, that'll count. And then just job experience, there's a good chance, but there will be a review process with the American Council on Education.
I'm gonna chime in on that real quick. So the American Council on Education, that is going to be for domestic US students. So they don't look at work experience or military or anything like that from international students. And also international military, we don't accept either. It's the US. But with that as well, so you cannot get credit for just the amount of years you worked. So we don't give you credit just for work experience. It has to be, if you did a certificate during your work, maybe for like an HR thing that was required at work, but you think it might, you did hours towards it, it might be extra credit. That's the type of thing we're talking about with work experience. It's not just, I've worked here for 10 years and do I get credit for this? We do not give credit for that.
Thank you.
Oh, hey, Sam, can I jump in one more thing?
Yeah, totally. Go ahead.
So with experience, any transcript from the American Council on Education only counts as lower level coursework. So freshman, sophomore. For this degree program, you need 36 hours of junior, senior level, or upper level coursework. So even if you have experience, it might not be needed because you have so much coursework you're already transferring in, but just keep in mind, anything going through the American Council on Education will always transfer as lower level coursework.
Awesome, thanks. So at the end of the degree program, you will get a diploma from the University of North Texas. at the end of each course, you will get a course certificate. That is not credit bearing. That comes from Coursera. And Coursera, as they are not an accredited institution, they are not an institution of higher education, they are simply a platform. So they cannot offer credit. But at the end of each course, you will get a certificate from Coursera saying that you completed it. This is like, you know, like your perfect attendance certificate from school, right? Like it doesn't really count for anything except for you can hang it on your fridge and say you got a certificate for it. That's kind of what the certificate for each course is. We recommend that you share it on social media and celebrate each course with your family and friends. But do know that the University of North Texas is the credit bearing institution. So we will give you credit for each course that is passed, and that will be cumulative on your diploma at the end of your program.
Okay, and going along with that, so your diploma, when you graduate, it's going to say a Bachelor of Applied Arts and Sciences. It is not going to list online. It is not going to list Coursera. It is strictly going to be from the University of North Texas. So that will be on your diploma, and that is the degree you're getting. It's a Bachelor of Applied Arts and Sciences. And then on a resume, you will be able to put with concentrations in consumer behavior, organizational supervision. And then some of the credit you're bringing in will also make up part of your occupational specialization and some of your concentrations possibly. So you will be able to put that on a resume too. And then at that point, when you graduate, you can work with our Career Center as well, and they will help you whatever job you're applying for or wherever you want to go. They will be able to pull tangible skills from each of the concentration areas that you've learned, combine that with your work history, and then you'll be able to tailor that to the position that you're hoping for. So that's kind of how you really market the degree.
Okay, so just a few, I've seen a few questions about, you know, I was doing my associates or bachelor's in electrical engineering. I didn't finish them, you know, but can, you know, can I transfer those credits? Yes, and again, there's no age limit to the credits. So whether you've completed your degree and whether you've, well, let me get to that in a second. If you have an incomplete degree, yes, we get, that's really our bread and butter. Everyone who comes into this program, unless you come straight out of the US military, everyone will have an incomplete degree when they're applying to this program. That's really why this was created, to help you take those credits from an incomplete degree and then complete a Bachelor's of Applied Arts and Sciences. Now, other questions, you know, specific courses, you know, can I take, I took nursing courses, I took graphic design courses, can those transfer in? Yes, so with this degree, so the major is broken up into, there's really two primary parts. There's a 21-hour occupational specialization, and then you have your 36 hours of 12-hour concentration areas. So 3 12-hour concentration areas. Thanks, Sam. So, you know, whether you took graphic design or nursing courses or electrical engineering, I know that was one of the questions. We will try to find a place in one of those concentration areas or specialization to utilize those credits. Now, another question we get is, how many units can I transfer towards my bachelor's degree? I know Sam had kind of touched this, but you can transfer, technically you can transfer up to 90 hours into the BAAS degree program because you have to finish a minimum of 30 hours at UNT. However, keep in mind, of the 120 hours that are required for this degree, 36 hours have to be upper level courses. Community colleges do not let you take upper level courses. So basically all that to say, when you look to transfer into this degree, we will take as many classes as we can. However, there are still some requirements that you will have to meet. So the 36 hours of upper level classes is is a common requirement. So when I say we'll take as much as we can, we're not guaranteeing we're going to take every single credit that you're trying to transfer in, but we will take as much as is possible while still, you know, allowing you to complete the degree as required. But with that being said, yeah, any credits you're transferring in, we will review them and we will try to find a place for them in this degree. The point of this degree is not to keep you in college for 5 years. The point of this degree is to help you complete your bachelor's degree while gaining some new knowledge, while utilizing the knowledge you already have with that prior college credit, to really put yourself on the direct path to whatever your goal is.
Great. Sorry, I gotta get back to my question sheet here. So the relevance of the BAAS, this is a great question because, you know, a degree in applied arts and sciences is not something that, you know, is traditionally heard, right? Like you don't hear a lot of, I majored in applied arts and sciences. So how is this relevant? So there are 36 million people in the United States with some college. What that means is that you have 36 million people in this country with some college debt, most likely, and no degree. And that degree is going to increase a salary by an average of 84%. A person with a bachelor's degree makes an average of 84% more than a person without. And these are statistics that you know, are very well known across the world of higher education. So when we talk about relevance, I think that's our relevance right there. You know, for people who are working without a bachelor's degree, to get that bachelor's degree really gives you the leverage that you need to go to your manager or to go out and look for another job that is more money for you and more responsibility. And, you know, I've earned this degree, and so now I'm going to do something with it. You know, again, this is a college degree from a Research One university, which I think is also very relevant. You know, the name University of North Texas is known for being a Research One university, so that's very important. So that being said, I think that, you know, if you're in a place where your goals for your career or your profession don't line up with the credentials that you have, this is going to be a great program for you to get to a place where your credentials are what's going to get you to your goals. So that's the relevant question.
Okay, I think this will be our last question as we kind of wrap up here at 12:30. So we have the question, would the specializations differ every year? So no, the concentration options that we have, those are going to be consistent throughout the program. However, we do add new concentrations as we look at the market, look at what's best for our students, look at different things with Coursera, you know, our partnership with them. And we see what's, you know, most people are needing and wanting. So we do our best to come up with those concentrations, and we'll add those. And we also add more classes as we're available. So we do that as well.
Awesome. Well, we are at 12:30 here. So just in closing, here is the email address that you can use to reach out to our partners at Coursera to get you started on the pathway toward applying for this degree. It's UNT-BAAS@coursera.org. If you reach out to them today, they'll get you set up and connected with a box so that you can upload your transcripts, so that you can get your unofficial degree planning sheet, and then make your decision and hopefully apply to our program before the application closes on November 20th. So it was great spending some time with you all this morning. I hope that you learned something from us about the program today. And I hope you all have a great day.